God, we are asking this morning that you speak and that you would give us your word and that we would hear it and that we would run with it. Father, I pray this morning that you would challenge, that you would change us, that you would encourage us, that you would motivate us, that you would do whatever needs to be done in our lives that we might be able to get on the battlefield for you. Now, Lord, I pray for all of those here this morning that are struggling, who are going through issues. And I ask that this morning, during this time, that you give them a window of peace, that you give them a moment of clarity where they can hear from you, and that all of the distractions might be calmed and quieted, that they might be able to clearly hear what it is that the Spirit would say this morning. Now, Father, I pray for you to just continue to do what only you can here at this church. And God, we give you all the glory and all the praise for it. It's in Jesus' name I pray. If you agree with us, say amen.
Amen.
I'm going to ask if you would go with me to Philippians chapter 2. I'm not going to pull that up on the screen, but I'd like for you to, if you would, go there with me. While you're going there, Steve, they asked us if you and I were going to get up here behind this today. I would preach from back. Look, fits right. Is this what I look like, Jennifer? Really? I mean, that's me. She says, no, the pecs aren't quite big enough for you. It's a little, you got a bigger forearm than that guy's got. What? Go to Philippians chapter 2. I think I'm going to go there too while I'm at it. Philippians chapter 2. Let's look at verse 1. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels of mercy, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded. Well, we've talked about that an awful lot here lately, haven't we? That ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, and of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Now, we've talked verbatim tonight, and over. Steve, I think we've covered the issue of men being men. We'll reiterate. But if you have strong men, you have strong homes. And if you have strong men and strong homes, you have a strong church. Right? And if you have a strong man leading his strong home and you have a strong church, then you will be able to go out and do those things that God has called you to do. Now, I do not stand here this morning and try to tell you that I know every little thing about what I do and that I am some kind of seminary graduate guru who knows all the buttons to push and all the right things to say and knows the right time to do everything. I don't. I guess you would kind of say I'm flying by the seat of my pants, but not really. Because I know that He knows what He's doing. And He has been leading and guiding us now for 4 years I've been here. 4 years. Wow. Yeah, Joe Carroll said, gosh, man, I thought you'd never last 2. 4 years. In that 4 years' time, we've done a lot. We've seen a lot happen, and we've encouraged and enjoyed, and we've cried, and we've wept, and we've seen all sorts of things transpire, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. We've seen it all. And in that 4 years' time, I am absolutely confident that the Lord has been at work in every single second of it. Now, we didn't always see His hand, and we didn't always understand how it was going to work out or even where it was going. And I'm not too shy or ashamed to tell you that there's been many a time I went into my office and said, Lord, what in the world are you doing? What is going on? This makes no sense. I don't understand it. I got away for a week and I stood on the beach. I didn't do anything. Literally nothing. Sit there on the beach and watch the waves. And I learned a lot by doing that. When I was a little boy, my grandfather did heat and air. It was the greatest days of my life, man. I'd get up at the butt crack of dawn. Papa would get up about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and he'd wash his hair in the kitchen sink. I don't know. He just did. Every morning, he'd wash his hair. My grandfather had the most glorious gray head of hair you've ever seen. Wavy hair. Man, he was a hot dude. But he would get his head up. I can still see him doing it in his underwear. Tiny whities. Papa would stick his head under that kitchen sink and wash his hair, because it would be an absolute sin against humanity if Papa's hair was not on point. So he would wash his hair, and he used Prel. Anybody hear of Prel shampoo? Green bottle of Prel. He kept it in the kitchen cabinet right behind the medicine because he didn't wash his hair anywhere else. But he'd get up and he'd wash his hair, and there were several times. Now, I didn't always get up the same time he did, but I can remember when I did, I felt like I had just conquered the world. I was up with the men. Well, I'd get up, and then I'd walk in there, and there'd be Papa in his underwear, leaned over the sink, and I'd say, I don't think this is what it's cracked up to be. I'm going back to bed. But I'd get up and go with Papa to work. I'd ride the floorboard of the van or the truck, whatever he had at the time, and I'd fall asleep. We'd get to the job site, and he'd let me sleep in the truck, the van, whatever, the vehicle, and then I would wake up and go and help Papa. And I actually was kind of invaluable to him, because Papa could be working. He wore glasses, and eventually he had to have cataract surgery, so it wasn't like his eyesight was the best. He's had some issues there. Papa could look at me and say, Jeremy, I need a 1/4-inch wrench, or I need the crescent, or I need this. Can you go get me the can of, or the bottle of refrigerant, whatever he was doing, Freon. And I knew what to get, and I knew what to do, and that was good. Papa could stay under the house on his knees in the rock while I could climb out and go get the screwdriver that he needed. But where I really shined, where I really came to the forefront, is when you would hear this sound. I'll see if I can catch it for you. Papa's here. I'm not going to steal this penny. I'll put it back. But Papa would hear that sound as he's working that, where a screw would fall. He'd be taking a screw to work on where he'd cut out the side of the air conditioner unit to get into the motor and all that. When he would, he'd try to put all that metal back together, that screw would fall, and he would never leave. He'd never lose his patience. He'd never even freak out. Most of the time, wouldn't even say anything. That screw would fall, and here I'd go. I could find a needle in a haystack. I had eyes like an eagle. It didn't matter where it went or where it was. Not only could I find it, but I could get to it because I was only 4 years old. Child labor was good back then. I could find that thing, and I would go and hunt that little screw out. He never worried. He would just move on to something else. A few minutes later there, I'd be standing holding that screw. He'd just take the screw and go right back to work. Never had to say thank you. Didn't have to say nothing. But I knew he was going to the store after that, and I was going to get rewarded. But I'm still like that. I'm still there. I'm still that little boy. And I still see things that you might not see. Jennifer and the girls would get tickled at me because we'd be sitting there on the beach, and I would be like, hey, do y'all see that boat out there? I'm like, oh yeah, I see that little dot way out there on the horizon. Yeah, sure, I see that. But no, it's a boat out there. A few minutes go by, they would say, well, I can see it now. Yeah, but you didn't before. What if that had been trouble? It's kind of the thing I enjoy doing. I sit there and I watch for boats. I don't know why I do it. I just do. I'm a boring person, but I wasn't drinking on the beach. I was looking for boats. And I'd find them. And there are things that I see that you don't. Not because I'm better than you, not because I'm smarter, sharper, got a better handle on things. It's because it's what I'm called to do. It's what I do. And I see things. You don't see it yet, but I do, and I talk about it, and you think, what is he talking about? I'm not even going through that. And then fast forward 4 or 5 months, or maybe a year or two, and you go, oh, man! I didn't see that coming, but he was already talking about it before it ever got there. Sometimes you don't like what I have to say. But I can't care about that. Sometimes I'll see things you don't want me to see. Or sometimes I'll talk about things that get a little too close for comfort. You know, kind of one of those deals like, all right, who's the rat? I'm talking right at you. You don't want to see it, but you need to see it. Why? Why is that? Well, we're at a crossroads of sorts. Crossroad of a kind. We can make a decision here. We want to stay where we've always been or go where the Lord wants us to go. The reason why the Lord has called me to do what I do and see what I see is so that I can prepare or help to assist you or to point things out to you so that the Lord can work in your life to where you can be someone that He can use for His glory. You know, if you've got trouble, the Lord wants to help you. If you've got a problem, the Lord wants to help you fix that. If you've got something going on in your life, the Lord wants to help you get that right so you can get on to the next thing that He wants you to do. And that doesn't always happen by high fives and hallelujahs. Sometimes that's hard work. Sometimes it gets a little rough and ugly. Sometimes it gets a little defensive. I like it. But I really think the Lord wants to use us. He wouldn't have put in all of His work and effort if He didn't. You might not see it. You might not see the changes that are taking place in your life, but I do. You might not realize that the Lord has worked on you. You may just think you're going through the motions like usual, but you're not. Things are happening. Things are being revealed. Things are being brought to the forefront. Things are being exposed. Things are being called out so that they can be addressed and dealt with and fixed and healed and cured and overcome. Ultimately, you have to make the decision on whether or not you in your own life will apply that and allow it to work. But the overall goal of all of that is for us to be able to be the city set on a hill whose light cannot be hidden that God wants to use. Now, I know that we often will say, well, if we just had more volunteers, if we just had more support, if we just had more programs, if we just had more money, if we just had more political clout, if we just had more of this or more of that or whatever it may be, we would be able to be more of an impact in the community. And to that I say, boulder dash. Hogwash. Bull. The problem is not what we lack. It's not that we need more of something. The problem is that we need less of something. Well, what is that? What do I need less of? How can that be a bad thing to want to be more of a witness to the community? No, what you need is less. You need less of you. Less of you. I can see when we get into a position or a place where we get self-righteous. When we get to a place where we become lackadaisical, we become lazy. I can see when we get to a place where we become comfortable with the status quo and just going through the motions. You may be okay with that. He's not. If He's not going to let me rest on it. So I want to ask you a very pointed question this morning. When you look at verse 4 of Philippians chapter 2, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. How does that square up in your life? Have we become so self-absorbed and so self-contained that we only think about the problems and the struggles and the issues that we are going through, and we give all of our time and all of our attention and all of our devotion to what we are experiencing and what we are going through, taking absolutely no thought for those around us who are lost? and without hope in this world. We're so consumed with this materialistic, consumer-driven, commercial society that we now say, as it is in the world, so shall it go in the church. But that's not what Jesus has in mind, is it? Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. I'm going to ask you another question. I talked to Bob before I left, and he shared with me what he was going to be talking about, and I couldn't help but laugh and say, wow, that's so funny, Bob, because it's exactly where we've been headed. I know Bob said something last week. He asked you all when was the last time that you shared Christ with someone, or when was the last time you invited someone to church. And I want to kind of piggyback that this morning and say, you should. It's time. It's time for you to invite your family. It's time for you to invite your friends. It's time for you to become evangelical, to get up off of your spiritual patouche and go out into the world and start being a light and an example. But hold on, there's more. One thing we've got to keep in mind is this. When we go out into the world to be a light for Jesus, we can't do that if we're only thinking about ourselves. And we're self-absorbed, self-consumed. So when Philippians says, look not every man on his own things, what that is saying to you is to stop being so internally driven that all you think about is me, me, me. Hey, I was a young boy. I was about 14 when the Lord called me to be a preacher. Do you know why I don't discourage Connor or Chad or anyone else that thinks the Lord is calling them at an early age? Because I was there. I was about 14 and I went to Kroger. And back then, they used to have those little spinning book thingies in the aisles. And I was flipping through one of them one time. Man, I was on fire for the Lord. You know, I was lit up. I was so excited about the Lord. And I was just newly started in my walk for the Lord and getting into ministry. And I saw this book from Philippians chapter 2, and I bought it with my own money. And it changed me. Pinpointed this verse. And it simply said that this is not all about you. This church, these four walls that we sit inside of, that's not all there is. There's more to this than this. Much more, in fact. So much more. It's not just let's make sure we keep this church going and keep it operating, keep the budget up, and make sure that we have everything taken care of as it should be. The Lord didn't anoint and call us to build buildings and maintain them. He called us to be a light in a dark world. But when you only focus on the inside, you forget about what's outside. You're undercutting or you're short-circuiting the mission and the calling. Does the Lord care about you, Steve Carter? Absolutely. Angie, does the Lord know everything you're going through? Oh, He knows a lot more than you want Him to. And He cares, Becky. He cares. But you know what I found out? The Lord's going to take care of me. The Lord's going to take care of my needs. I don't need to go to Him every day and whine and cry, and I almost said a bad word, and tell Him all about how it is and how awful my life is and how terrible everything is and boo-hoo and cry. Oh, God, when are you going to deliver me? Oh! And He answers back and He says, when you wake up and realize that the problem's you, that's when. I don't need to go to the Lord every day and whine and cry about how bad things are. Did you tell Him? Did you tell Him about your... Well, sure I did. Well, then let it go. Let it be. Let the process work. Stop focusing only on you. Little word of wisdom. When you focus on you, you're inwardly focused on you, what comes out of your mouth will also only be focused on you. You'll say things and do things that you ought not because you're only thinking about how can I help myself or how can I fix me. So what then is our purpose? What then has God called us to do? Hey, I'm grateful for the building. I'm grateful for the people. I'm grateful for the budget. I'm grateful for all of those things. But the Lord has provided those things. What then does He require of us? What then is He asking us to do? I think it's very simple. You look at Philippians chapter 2, verse 4. Don't think only of yourself, but look also on the things of others. Now, that's not just your brothers and sisters in here in the room. That's those folks that you work with. And they don't know how they're going to get through what they're going through, but you have the answer, but you won't share it because you're only thinking about you. Well, if I tell them about Jesus, they'll think I'm crazy. No, maybe if you told them about Jesus, they'd be saved and they'd get delivered and they would be able to overcome this issue they're going through. Flip the script on it, man. Quit worrying only about you. What do you have to lose? Andrew, what do you have to lose if you go and tell someone at work? If the Lord opens up a window of opportunity and you have the chance to share your faith with them, what is the absolute worst that could happen? They look at you and think you're an idiot. That's the worst thing that could happen. Well, I don't have to worry about that because I already think I'm an idiot, so I just throw it out there. But what is the best thing that could happen? What is the best thing that could happen? And we'll unite around fund drives, or we'll unite around events, we'll unite around all of these different things, but I'm asking you to unite around this. I'm asking you to unite around the idea, the concept, the spiritual concept of living an absolutely selfless life. Laying down all of who you are for all of who He is. To say, as of today, I will no longer walk according to the things of the flesh, seeking only what I can receive and what I can get, but instead, I'm going to trust, as I'm supposed to, according to the Word, that God will take care of all of my needs because He cares for me. If I know He's got me covered, then I can start looking out around those that I live with, that I come in contact with at work, and those that I see when I go out into the community. And if I am not worried about my needs, I am not worried about what might come my way because I know that He is watching out for me. You have a pastor who is watching out for you as well. You can now focus on the work that God has called you to, which is to go out there and bring people in here so that they can get the same teaching, the same encouragement, the same motivation, the same whatever it is that they might need that you're able to get on a weekly basis, even on a daily basis, because I'm around here just about all the time. What I'm saying is that it is well past time that we begin to go out into a world that does not know the Lord and share Him with them. But in order to do that, you must do so selflessly. Think back. Just think back. Think about the messages. This wasn't pre-planned. I didn't sit down with my sketchbook and go over the year and say, this is where I want us to be. No. But you think back to the messages. You think over what we've talked about. The Lord has been getting us in order, getting us in line where we belong. For what? Not to have a beauty pageant. Not for us to have us a revival service so people can come and see how pretty our building is. No. No, not so we can have us a Sunday. No. No, absolutely not. It's for you. Go out there. Take a risk. Take a gamble. Instead of dropping your quarters in the slot machine, take a gamble and go out there and drop your faith into somebody and see what happens. See what comes out. Look, I don't have any grandiose ideas on growing the church. Got a real simple philosophy. Joe Peters understands it very well. I'm going to preach the Word. And I'm going to teach the Word. And I'm going to encourage everybody who works in this church to minister to people to do likewise. Just teach the Word and watch. Watch what will happen. This will work. This will work if you teach the Word, if you preach the Word, if you live the Word, if you share the Word, it will work. Your ideas won't. Your programs won't work. Your big game plan, setting these goals of church growth, it doesn't work like that. Ryan, I'm going to ask you a question. Put you on the spot. All right. When you were, say, 11, 12 years old, did you sit down with your composition book and say, I plan to have X amount of children at this point in my life? I plan to be making this much money and living in this particular place at this point in my life. Don't you laugh, Tammy Powers. Is this where you expected yourself to be? What about you, Todd Woodyard? Did you go by the book and follow that plan and achieve everything? What about you, John Ballard? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. I can have it all worked out in my head. But my head ain't going to get me nowhere. I've got to stop using the playbook. I've got to stop trying to have it all figured out. I think I read somewhere one time, it said we walk by faith and not by sight. What are you believing for? Brian, what are you believing for? You believing for God to give you a really comfortable place to go to church so that you can come in on Sunday, slide in, slide out, feel good, and go home? Do nothing with your faith? Well, I sure hope that the Lord brings some new folks in here every now and then. As long as they look like we want them to look and act like we want them to act and have the same cookie-cutter mentality that we do. Right? No, we walk by faith. It might get scary. You might have homosexuals come in here to church. Well, what's the difference between a homosexual and someone that got drunk over the weekend? Anybody get drunk this weekend? Anybody have too much to drink? It's the same. There's no difference. Sin is sin, is it not? Right? So why are we not out trying our best to win those who don't know the Lord instead of commentating and arguing and belittling and badgering and telling them how bad they are? Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, it's what you do when you preach. No, when I preach, I tell you the truth. But I love you. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your nation of origin is. I don't care what sin you struggle with. I love you. Chris, maybe you'll amen me when I say this, but I'm far from perfect. Far from perfect. I don't have it all together. I don't know everything. He does. I know He does. And I trust Him. And I believe in Him. And I desperately want to see Him seek out and save those who are in our community who don't know Him. We don't need to argue and fight with other churches. We don't need to get into spitting contests with them to see who's bigger and who's better. No, what we need to do is we need to say, Lord, what do you want me to do? Joe Peters, you'd ask the Lord, who do I need to go and talk to? Who have you put in my path that I might be able to be a witness to them? Get me out of me and get my focus on them. You have got me covered. How can I help them? Does that make sense? This is not all about me. This is all about Him. This is not all about you. It's all about Him. It's not about the church. It's about the church. It's about us going out into a world that doesn't know Him and sharing His love and His mercy and His grace. And doing so without fear of what might happen. I'm not asking you to trust me, my methodology, my program, my theory, my personal philosophy. I'm asking you to trust the Word. What does the Word say? Go. Go into all the world and teach all nations. That's what it says. I'm not asking you for a commitment to the local church, although you ought to take care of this church because it is your filling station. It is your place where you come to hear the Lord or to hear the word of the Lord and to be able to worship the Lord and to be able to feel the camaraderie and that spiritual blessing that comes from joining together with other believers And we ought to make sure that we are paying our tithe, that we are giving in our offerings, that we are physically taking care of this building. But we've got to make sure that we don't get sidetracked with that and so caught up in it that we forget the ultimate purpose of why we are here, and that is to not build the physical building of the church, but to build the spiritual building of the church. To not be committed to a philosophy or an ideology, but to be committed to a person. To be fully and totally 100% sold out and dedicated and devoted to the Lord Jesus Christ and to no other. And if He says go, then we go. If He says stay, then we stay. If He says jump, then we jump. If He says stay still, then we stay still. If He says move on, we move on. If He says to not go anywhere, we don't go anywhere. We do what He says, and we have His Word in front of us. And it tells us plainly what we should and should not do. So my question is this. Are you sold out to yourself? Only thinking about you? And trying to put on this facade of Christianity? Or are you truly a believer in Jesus Christ? If so, you'll be the servant of all servants. What did His disciples say? They were arguing over who was greater. Our church is bigger than your church. We got more Sunday school classes than you do. Oh yeah? Well, our preacher's got 17 plaques on the wall. One of them's for this class and that class, and he's super superior smart.
Oh, yes, but our budget. You boys ever had 8 digits in your budget? Bless the Lord.
All right. One mission, one purpose. And that is to share the mercy and the love of God with everyone we come in contact with. So, will you live selfless or will you live selfish? Self-absorbed, focused internally, or will you look out at the world around you and weep for them? Cry when you see the position they're in, the shape they're in. I don't care if you're in the halls of the Capitol or if you're at the gas station. I don't care if you're standing in the office of the president of the bank or if you're out on the side of the road helping somebody change a tire. You're going to follow the Lord, or are you going to seek out what you want? Are you going to do what the Lord says or do what you want to do? Maybe all the Lord's waiting on is for you to reach out to others. And when you do, when you reach out to others, you'll be thinking about your problems as much. You'll get the freedom you desire. You'll be able to let go of some things. There's a price to be paid when we live selfish. We only see what we can see. Ask the Lord to show you. Ask the Lord to give you a burden. Ask the Lord to give you a passion and a heart for those out here in our community. Are we sharing Jesus? Are we sharing the Lord? Because that's our mission. The Lord called me to equip the saints. That's what we do on Sundays. The Lord's called all of us, including myself, to go out there and use what we've been equipped to do. So I'm encouraging you. Go invite someone. Go talk to someone. Get a personal conversation. Whatever it may be. Let's see what the Lord does. Let's just see what He does. He might grow the church. Would you stand with me this morning, Father?